My downstairs neighbor keeps complaining about stomping from my apartment. I've been away for a month. I've lived in apartment 6B at Ridgewood Commons for almost 3 years now. It's nothing special. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, a kitchen that barely fits a table, but it's mine, and for the most part, it's been quiet. My downstairs neighbor is a retired postal worker named Gerald. Nice guy. We've never had problems. He minds his business. I mind mine. That's why his texts started to worry me. I left for a work assignment in Denver on January 4th. The company put me up in a hotel for the month while I trained new hires at the regional office. I wasn't due back until February 6th. The first text came on January 9th. Gerald wrote that he'd heard heavy footsteps from my unit around 2 in the morning. He asked if I had someone staying over. I told him no one was there. The apartment was empty. He said okay and left it alone. 4 days later, he texted again. This time he was annoyed. He said the stomping had gotten worse. It sounded like someone was pacing back and forth across the living room for hours. He asked me to tell whoever was up there to knock it off. I called my landlord the next morning. She sent maintenance to check on the unit. They found nothing. Doors locked, windows latched, no signs of forced entry, no signs of anyone being inside. But Gerald kept texting. January 18th. He said the footsteps were happening every night now, always starting at 2 a.m., always stopping at exactly 4:15 a.m. He said it sounded like someone was dragging something heavy across the floor. January 22nd. He stopped asking me to fix it. He just sent a voice memo. I played it back in my hotel room. For the first 30 seconds, it was just silence. Then I heard it. A slow, rhythmic thud, like boots on hardwood. Then a pause. Then the sound of something wet being dragged. I called the police that night. They did a welfare check. The officer told me the apartment was secure. No signs of disturbance. Nothing out of place. He said Gerald might be hearing pipes or the heating system, but I knew what my heating system sounded like. That wasn't it. On January 29th, Gerald stopped texting. I tried calling him twice. No answer. I figured maybe he'd gotten tired of complaining, or maybe he'd finally convinced himself it was just building noise. I flew home on February 6th. When I pulled into the parking lot, I noticed Gerald's car was still in his spot. His curtains were drawn. I grabbed my bags and headed up to my unit. The hallway smelled weird, like copper and old milk. I unlocked my door and stepped inside. Everything looked exactly how I left it. Same dishes in the sink, same blanket on the couch, same pair of shoes by the door, except there was a second pair of shoes next to mine. Work boots, brown leather, caked in dried mud. I don't own work boots. I dropped my bags and backed toward the door. That's when I noticed the floor. The hardwood near the hallway had scratch marks on it, deep grooves carved into the wood in a circular pattern, like someone had been walking the same loop over and over again. I ran downstairs and knocked on Gerald's door. No answer. I called the landlord. She said Gerald had filed a noise complaint on January 25th and then stopped responding to follow-ups. She asked maintenance to check on him 2 days ago. They found his door unlocked. His apartment was empty. His wallet and keys were still on the counter. His shoes were still by the door, but there was a trail of dried mud leading from his unit up the stairwell to the 3rd floor, to my apartment. I'm writing this from a motel 6 miles away. I haven't been back. I don't think I can. Last night I got a voicemail from Gerald's number. The timestamp said 2 a.m. I played it once. It was just footsteps, slow and heavy, pacing back and forth. Then a voice I didn't recognize whispered something I'll never forget. You left the door unlocked. I never leave my door unlocked. But when I checked my keychain, my apartment key was missing, and the stomping hasn't stopped because 10 minutes ago I got a text from my landlord. She said the new tenant in 6B called her tonight. She asked why someone keeps walking above her ceiling. My unit is on the top floor.